War Eagle, War Rapport family. I am your host, C Dub. Auburn falls at Ole Miss 34-48. We break that down, all facets of the game, and look ahead to the rest of the season in the latest edition of the Weekend Tailgate.
You are now listening to a War Rapport Weekend Tailgate. Brought to you by
Athletic Architect.
It's your boy, I Jones. Be real. C-Dog. Mike G. Get ready. Sit on back as we bring you the War Rapport Weekend Tailgate.
War Eagle, everyone. War Eagle, welcome to the latest edition of the Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by show sponsor Athletic Architects. For those of you who are student athletes, related to a student athlete, or you're just looking to get your LLC off the ground, you need to go visit buildthehouse.com. We want to shout them out for supporting the War Rapport and supporting the Weekend Tailgate. Also, we want to thank you guys who are supporting us. There's a lot of ways you can do that, guys. You're already doing it just by showing up, so thank you for that. But if you're on social media, we need you to do us a favor. That is Facebook and Twitter. Share this video, all right? Share it. Use the hashtag. You can even @, us, especially if you're on Twitter or on Facebook. Please use the hashtag #GetYourWeight Help people to find our content. Also, while you're here, smash that like button. And if you're new to our channel, we would love for you guys to subscribe to our channel. You can also support us monetarily by becoming an actual member of the War Rapport. And Ike Jones is here to tell you how you can do exactly that.
It's a really simple process. All you need to do is click the join button right below the video, man. We appreciate everybody who has come on board as members of the War Rapport family, allowing us to share your Saturdays with you, all the joy and pain, the sunshine and rain. I don't know why I do that. Anyway, yeah, y'all can enjoy all of that with us on game day, man. And you can have an opportunity to do this film review, man. We do those on Mondays, going back and watching what actually happened during the game in a little more detail so that we can find some rays of hope for the future if you're into that kind of thing. But anyway, $5.99 is what gets you to that patron level to be able to do that. If you are a current member and you want to gift a membership to somebody, you can hit the little button that's a little gift box down there in the live chat, and it will allow you to select the number of memberships you want to give away and give the gift of happiness and hope to someone else for a month. They can become a member of the War Rapport and be able to access all of those great features. Oh, I'm not going there. My bad. Every day we give away stuff. Well, not every day, but at least the live streams we do. We're going to do another mug today. So hashtag get your weight up in the comments, sponsored by GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. Make sure you hashtag get your weight up in the comments. You have to be present to win, but we will draw this at around that 1 hour mark. So if you are here and your name pops up on the screen, then you are the lucky person for the day. If your name pops up on the screen and you are not here, someone will be sure to let you know that you missed out on the opportunity of a lifetime to get free merchandise from the War Rapport. But all you got to do is hashtag get your weight up right there in the comments, and we'll do that drawing here coming up soon.
Well, guys, let's go ahead and get into the show. As we know, Auburn fell to Ole Miss, score 34-48. First half, it was a tale of two quarters. It looked like at the beginning of the game, Ole Miss was just going to rout Auburn. The offense woke up. You guys talked about it on the post game. There was a key point when Robbie Ashford got benched for a series and then came back out and led a score. Auburn actually ended up putting up 17 points in the second quarter, basically making it a 2-score game going into the half. Auburn actually follows that up in the second quarter. Even though they were giving up points, basically it became a bit of a shootout of sorts for Auburn standards, at least. Auburn scored 14 more points in the third quarter, and unfortunately only scored 3 in the fourth. The weather delay kind of stalled things out. Ole Miss only scored 10 themselves. They actually had scored a touchdown right before the weather delay, and Auburn was unable to respond coming out. your thoughts, man. Any new thoughts you guys have? Given it's the day after, you had some kind of raw thoughts after the game, but just kind of what is your feeling as we're going into the bye week about the team that we've seen so far? I'll start with you, B. Will.
First thing, you know what? Let's Kelsey. Thank you for watching us from where you're at. Best of luck.
Congratulations,
to you
man.
You are watching us from the delivery room. Been through that recently. I know you got some time on your hands before things get all the way rolling, or maybe you don't. Y'all all the way rolling. So hopefully you're not watching this, while wife over there just in immense pain. But congratulations and thank you for tuning in while you get that newborn baby bringing into the world, man. Congratulations. But so I didn't really have too much different than I thought. I mean, we got to talk through it quite a bit after the game. Mike and I did. I wonder if what we did is transferable to the rest of our season. That's the only thing I wonder. Did we find something? We definitely seem to find something as far as Robbie Ashford's confidence and his urgency. It's almost as if he went out the game, had the best combination of coffee or gummy or whatever it is that has you mentally operating your best. And then he was like, fine, I get it. I didn't see him hold the ball too long after that. He was more decisive. He was throwing a better ball. His situational awareness increased. Like that was the switch that got flipped. And I just hope that is now permanently who Robbie Ashford is for this offense for the rest of this season. I really hope so. I don't know it. We talked about it before the game and even after the game. What Ole Miss likes to do on defense benefited us. Our coaches put us in a position to win by going to something that would allow us to move on that defense. But still, decision-making, the timer in your head, both of those are things that will do well for us no matter what defense we're playing. I wonder and I hope that is something that carries for the rest of the season. But that's the only major thought I had after the game.
Thoughts, Ike?
Yeah, I mean, similarly, Mike G has talked about the fool's gold that happens. I hope we don't get this fool's gold mentality about our ability to run the ball now all of a sudden.
For sure.
I think that there are some things that we can take away from this game that are positives as far as their execution in the run game. But just because you were able to run against X team does not mean Y team will allow you to run in that same way. That doesn't mean you don't try to run, because you definitely have to at least attempt the rush so that it can set up your pass and vice versa. But I hope that I'm hoping that in the future we see more adaptability from this offense to be able to adjust when the run is not working, and you can't just go back to that well again and say, well, I mean, if all else fails, we can turn around and hand the ball off 4 more times, right? So, and then late in the game when we had to pass, it didn't look particularly great, right? And so those are the things that I'm not necessarily encouraged by, but I am encouraged by the fact that we were able to, for the first time, I think, in the Harsin era, say the run game's working, keep running it. We didn't see that last year. Last year, we saw the runs game's working. All right, well, let's see if we could pass too. And it's like, bro, what are we doing? Like, just keep running the ball. It's working. This game, for the first time, they were like, okay, run it again. Oh, it worked. Run it again. Like, they were fine with just working with what worked. So I'm good with that. I do want to see a little bit more proficiency in the pass game because we have the athletes to do that. I am looking forward to seeing how they pivot off of this a little bit more in the future.
What I took from this is that Ole Miss defense is bad. And
that's surprising because they played well this season so far.
Yeah.
And so for us to move the ball as well as we did, I'm like, no, man.
Their defense is bad.
They might have been given some okie doke early in the season with this defense.
And let's just say that if it happens, if this is Harsin's last year, and let's say a lot of fans get what they want, and Kiffin comes, leave that defensive coordinator in Oxford. That defense, I am not impressed with that defense in the slightest, because it just looked. We know what Lane can do offensively. I don't even think he shows up to the defensive meetings. I think focuses on the offense. What you got?
I think that might be Lane's choice of defense, though, because we said last year when Steve Willis came on, he said that they had been playing that alignment last year, but last year the defensive coordinator was DJ Durkin.
Yeah.
And this year it's
Yeah.
a new guy because Durkin's at A&M. This may be Lane going, we see too many passing offenses. Here's what's going to be our base no matter what. And it might be his choice. So maybe no matter what DC he brings, he's going to bring that alignment.
And but I think we saw last year the defense did, to Ike's point, the defense got better as the year went on under DJ Durkin. They were a little questionable. Well, actually, they were decent at times last year.
Yeah, injuries derailed that defense.
Yeah,
I mean, injuries derailed the offense as well. But like they had a rash of injuries last year that made that team less than what they had potentially or could have been. But yeah, they definitely improved as the year. I mean, but you would hope every team gets better as the year goes along, right? Like that's just kind of as you gel and you get more continuity and understanding of systems, people, personnel, you're supposed to get better as the year progresses. You know, everybody has that capacity except for Auburn, of course, like because that's what our fans tell us all the time. Like we're terrible. We'll never win any more games because we can't get any better. So, you know.
Well, let's go ahead and get into kind of talking about the different phases of the game. Let's kind of talk the statistics, talk about what happened in the game. Let's start off with talking about the offensive side of the ball. On yesterday, I'll remove this so that we can see everything. On offense, passing wise, we went 8 of 17 for 140 yards. No passing touchdowns in this game, 2 interceptions. But the story of our offensive performance today was we rushed 48 times for 301 yards, easily our most productive day on the ground this year. Turnovers, still turned the ball over a bit in this game, guys. Put the ball on the ground twice, lost it once. Let's talk about offense, and obviously the bright spot of this was the running game, which we did kind of talk about. And we understood, and I felt this before you even said it, Ike. I don't even know if we can look to this as encouraging moving forward, because how many more 3-2-6 defenses are we going to match up against? But how do we feel about the offensive line as it pertains to some of the new faces we saw up front? We saw Keandre Jones, we saw Jeremiah Wright. How do we feel about those guys in the effort they gave? I'll start with you, Ike.
So I liked, and this is a thing that we were told when we did our interview with Marquise Burks prior to the season, was that Jeremiah Wright gives a different kind of nastiness to that offensive line. When we watch the film tomorrow, there's a play in particular that I want to go look at because I recall vividly, because this is the first game I've actually watched on TV, because I've been at most of the games so far. This is the first time I watched on TV. I remember vividly seeing Jeremiah Wright after a play was over with, just kind of giving that look like, yeah, I just pushed you and what? Like he just has that, I'm going to push a little bit after the whistle just to let you know I'm still here. Like he just has a little bit of nasty in him. Like, man, we finna go around him. We're going to push some dudes around this game. And I like that energy. As much as I hated Brandon Council saying what he said out loud last week, I like the energy of it that says, you know what? I don't care who you are. I'm going to man up and I'm going to push you around. Now, he was completely wrong. He was 100% wrong. But he believed it in his heart. And I like the energy of it. I just need to see it a little bit more on the field. So I do like that. I thought Keandre Jones had that in him for whatever reason. We hadn't seen that thus far. The Georgia game, he looked, and so I do like the fact that the energy is right along that offensive line right now. Hopefully this will be a unit that can stay healthy and they can gel and start to work better as a team going forward.
Yeah.
B. Will, your thoughts about the O-line play?
Yeah, you know, it's hard to make heads or tails of exactly what the difference will be. Like we talked about, a 3-man front, a smaller box. This is why every time Tank Bigsby got the ball versus any defense that we played before this point, he's looking at an 8-man box, a 9-man box, sometimes even a 10-man box. This was why, because if you give him a 6-man box, a 5-man box, that's what he's going to do. He's going to run for almost 200 yards. Easy. It's really difficult to say the offensive line was the reason Tank was able to run for almost 200 yards. The small box was why Tank was able to run for almost 200 yards. Now, it doesn't mean that the offensive line couldn't play a factor. And given the comment that Ike made about Jeremiah Wright being nasty, I wonder what kept the most physical, the most nasty attitude offensive linemen on our team from playing sooner, especially when run blocking was as deficient as it had been versus Missouri and versus Georgia. I wonder how we got to the point where, well, fine, let's just throw the nastiest guys out there. I would have did that after Penn State. If you had thoughts about what the O-line was going to be, you lose some guys, Tate Johnson goes down. All right, we're going to have to mix this thing up. Give me the guys who are the strongest and the nastiest right now. Let's go. If you pass block poorly, we'll figure it out. It's not like TJ's going to be in there anytime soon because he just hurt his shoulder. I don't know why you don't go to this sooner, because they ended up here anyway.
Yeah.
The minute you can't do exactly what you want to do as far as a pass happy, extending the defense type, okay, we're going to have to run. Robbie's going to have to be the guy. Got it. Plan B, guys. Plan B. Let's put the dogs out there. And I'm glad we got here. I'm glad those faces got to play and play well. And I have to look at the grades to see, how they did when they were engaged. Did they get to the second level? Were they able to lose a defensive lineman and keep pushing past them? Because that's the individual play that won't necessarily show up if you just look at how many yards did you get. Yeah, that's a nice story. But again, small box, big yards, that makes sense. I'm glad those guys got out there. I want to see more of them. I'm very eager to see this team play and this offensive alignment play against Arkansas, because Arkansas just gave up 35 points. Granted, they were on the road, and we all picked against Arkansas, picking for the weekend. However, man, BYU's skill position players look like they moving in slow motion out there, man. I was just astounded that he's a wide receiver running this slow. Jeez, and they still put up 35 points on Arkansas. We got athleticism. We've got talent on this team. So I would be very interested to see how our offensive line plays against that Arkansas team, who is not particularly deep, but they're still going to put 4 on the line, probably. They'll probably put 4 down linemen out there. We will know if this alignment is the ultimate difference maker once we play that game. And I'm looking very much forward to that game.
We could easily talk about how well Tank and Jarquez looked in this game, but of course that was symptomatic of what Ole Miss was doing versus the guys we had. Some of the guys we had up front who were some new faces. Let's talk about the receivers. We saw a lot of faces, younger guys catching the ball. Coy Moore had a big reception, only one, and for 46 yards. Jay Fair got out there and got a big catch. Amari Kelly had a catch. How we feel about actually seeing some of the younger guys at this point in the season, and what does it speak to the pivot this coaching staff has made with some of the younger receivers?
So I like the idea that they're saying, listen, I don't care who wants to go out there and contribute. All right, cool, you're up. Let's go do it. Right. You've got some guys. Malcolm Johnson played today, but he had been hurt previously. Reports recently that Xavion Capers is shutting it down for the year. So is Landon King. So you've got guys who would have been in rotation that are not there anymore. And you've got a ton of talent on this team. Yeah, let's cycle through and get some guys out there, see who's going to make a play. But we have to be able to get those guys the ball too, right? And that's been the Achilles heel of this offense. But to the question that you asked specifically, I like seeing those guys out there contributing. And I want to see more of them because I think we have a ton of talent at the wide receiver position. I've always thought that. I've thought that for 2 years. I thought it last year, with the group that we had last year. I think it even more this year with this group. But we have yet to be able to see that talent on display because we have not had the offensive line or the trigger man that was allowing those guys to be able to flourish in whatever the offense is. So, very encouraged to see them get time. Hopefully we'll continue to see that and we'll see them contribute. We have not had a case, and God, I don't even really want to say this out loud because I feel like that's going to doom us for the remainder of the season after we come back from this bye week. But we haven't had a case where the wide receivers are the topic of conversation as far as getting open and having drops this year. That's not been the conversation. Wide receivers have been open, and they've been, for the most part, catching the ball when it comes in their direction. There have been some drops, but for the most part, the wide receivers have not been the culprit of those. It's been more running back, tight end group, right? So wide receivers, I think, are playing fairly well. We'll get into bye week grades a little bit more next week where we talk about just kind of overall assessing the first 7 games. But wide receivers, I think, have played well, and looking forward to seeing the talented young guys get more time.
Let's talk about some of the things that were really bad. Auburn came out and just looked really tight. Robbie looked really tight in the first quarter. There was an interception, kind of a key moment in the game where there was a lot of pressure on him on the running back screen. He threw it really hard to Tank. Goes up in the air. The DB makes an amazing play on the ball. Once they tried to settle down Robbie, TJ comes in and pretty much proves why Ashford is the guy moving forward, giving our struggles on offensive line. He gets sacked on a 3rd and long, fumbles the ball. Those are 14 points off of turnovers. That pretty much is the game.
That's the difference in that. Well, the difference in that game is also that,
which is 20. That's 21 points. The PI
all I'm saying is that between those two things and then the onside kick, that's your game right there.
Right.
Well, the pass interference call weighs heavy later, but I'm talking about like as far as momentum swings and points. Yeah, you can break it down really to those 4 instances in the game. But yeah, continue, my bad.
And so it's difficult for me to say that this offense improved as much because some of the things that have been plaguing this team we're still seeing in games with the turnovers. Our thoughts about the turnovers, I mean, we again, as you alluded to, Ike, that this was the game, those 2 turnovers, especially where they occurred on the field. How does that get cleaned up going into the bye week? What are the coaches emphasizing? I'm pretty sure they're emphasizing the same thing they've been coaching these kids through all season. How does that change moving forward, or should we even expect that to start improving?
I mean, so I don't know how you can stress something as much as you want to. I don't know how you stress anymore. Hey, we need the ball in order to score, so you can't keep giving it to the other team. Like ball security, I don't know that there is a coach in America that doesn't stress ball security.
Right.
So, like, I think if we are to assume that this coaching staff seeing this many turnovers has not been stressing ball security, I just don't know that if they're not at this point, then like, what the heck are you doing? Because like, it's glaringly apparent we just keep giving the ball to the other team. So I don't know that there's any more stress that can be put on protect the football. Right. I think that we have seen Robbie less. He's been more hesitant to throw the ball into tight windows and such because I think he's worried about the interceptions. Right? He's not taking the chances with the ball, which is I'm okay with that. But the issue with the pass that you pointed out to Tank was it's not that it was a tight window throw or anything. He just wasn't. There was no touch. Like he threw that as if he had to. It was a tight window seam route between a DB and a safety. Like, and it was a 3-yard route to a running back running out to the flat. Like there was no reason to throw that in that manner. Tank didn't have a shot. Like Tank, we would have been better off if that went whizzing past Tank's head because him tipping it is what allowed it to actually get picked. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know how you stress that even more than you do. I think that comes down to some guys just are turnover prone. Like that's just the reality of what it is. I was watching. Oh, it was actually the Tennessee and Bama game, and the backup running back came into the game, and like they couldn't get it out of their mouth fast enough that this guy Wright was the starting running back at the beginning of the season, and the reason that Jabari Small had taken over at running back is because Wright had an issue fumbling. Like literally the next play, he fumbled. And then, I mean, they recovered the fumble. The play after that, they tried to strip the ball out of his hand. They ruled forward progress, but it actually was a fumble. 2 plays in a row.
Yeah.
So you think that Josh Heupel and that offensive staff didn't say, "Hey, bro, the reason why you're not about to be playing is because you fumbling the ball too much. We got to get it together." He just, for some reason, has an issue fumbling the ball. And some people just have that propensity. I don't understand why all of them want to reside in Auburn this year. But for whatever reason, we have an issue taking care of the football, man. Right. And I don't know that there are because Tank had an issue with that his first couple of years.
Yes,
he doesn't do it as much anymore.
Right.
But Tank had a big fumbling issue, and he made a point to say, "I'm gonna work on this." And so there's some personal responsibility that needs to come into play when you're talking about specifically the fumbling thing, because that is more fundamentals of how you carry and handle the ball in situations where you know you're going to be around people trying to rip it, poke it out, whatever. The interception thing, I think we've gotten a better handle on it. You don't see that in 2 interceptions from Robbie, but the first interception, again, that wasn't him making a poor decision. It was a poor throw.
Right.
The second one was he's trying to make a play right at the end of the game. And again, more so a poor throw. Right. Like, and so there's some things fundamentally that Robbie has to clean up in his mechanics. He's got some mechanical issues outside of the big looping windup that he has. There are some other mechanical issues he needs to clean up, specifically with him throwing on the move. When he's throwing on platform, he looks pretty good. As he starts to move and throw, which is unfortunate for him being a mobile quarterback, it falls apart on him and his accuracy starts to diminish the more he's doing that. So that's something that he 100% needs to work on.
There was a few passes thrown that were behind the receiver, a little bit behind. So yeah, if he can clean that up, that will definitely help. Let's get to some comments real quick before we move on to the next segment. P-Pass says, I vote Kelsey gets some War Rapport swag for this new edition. May do that. Not
a bad idea. Not a bad idea.
Kelsey, hit us up. This is at the War Rapport. Please be sure to hit us up. Corey Weber says, Ole Miss's defense will be torched later down the line against real offenses. I agree wholeheartedly with that. Yeah. Ed Darby says, Auburn offense benefited from the 3-2-6. The question I have is, why didn't Ole Miss put 8 in the box? Love the fight, though.
So I thought it was because they were up. They were ahead. So they don't have to stop the run if they're going to be 2 touchdowns up for the whole game. That was the thing, because if you can force us to run to score points instead of us throwing. Now, we actually score pretty quickly running the ball because Tank was running it really, really well. But they still could stay up on us because we couldn't stop the run. So, like with Vanderbilt, they actually did go to 8 in the box, but that was because they were down by like 17 points. Ole Miss was at Vanderbilt. So like, okay, we need to stop you from doing this so we can get ahead. But they didn't have to worry about that with us. We mistaked our way into an early lead for Ole Miss, and all they had to do was then just play the run as carefully as possible. And even if it did, we could get down in 3 or 4 plays and score a touchdown. It was still quicker than if we had been bombing it on them. So
I still would have switched and made us throw the ball, even with the lead, especially when we got within 2 scores, right? Like, or even within 1 score at one point in time. They were stubborn and were just like, well, we'll figure it out. And that, never mind. It's a whole different conversation about Lane Kiffin, but
yeah.
Yes.
All right. And Marty Smoot says, and appreciate the super chat, as disappointing as my AU Tigers season has been, I can't lie that I was so happy Tennessee beat Alabama. Felt like I won the national championship. I claim the national championship any way I can get it. War Eagle, and now Tennessee beats Georgia, basically on to the other rival that you can't stand. Listen, for you, Imani, I hope it happens. War Eagle back at you, good sir. Thomas Jones, appreciate the super sticker. Your comment here is, I was at the game. Do you know why Robbie and Tank got into it on the sideline? I didn't see it, but I got texts from people watching on TV.
I mean, so we talked a little bit about this in the post game. The most I can do is speculate on that, right? Like, I don't know exactly what the argument was, but from what was being reported on television about what was being said and what had occurred just previous to this, most people's assumption is that it had to do with 2 things. The offense had gotten frustrated with the early performance of Robbie, and specifically Tank was like, man, just give me the ball. Like, basically that was his energy of like, man, just give me the ball. I'm gonna go, because he was running well. He's like, just hand me the ball. I got it. They got down there on the goal line and Robbie decided to keep on the zone read. He scored, but Tank felt like he could have scored as well if he had just given him the ball. And so they got to the sidelines, and basically the argument was, yo, like, why are you mad? We just scored. Like, yo, just get with me. Like, I know I was messing up earlier, but bro, like, let's just keep moving along, right? And they got right. Again, they went on, played well the rest of the game. I think it was just 2 guys, super competitive, tired of losing, and that frustration kind of spilled over, I should say. But again, that's mostly speculation because I didn't see it and I haven't talked to anybody on the team to be like, yo, what was up with you and Tank, bro? Or Tank, what was up with you and Rod? Like, I haven't heard that firsthand account yet.
Right. Big Gap says yesterday's game felt like AU versus LSU in 2012 when something started to click, or 2013 when something started to click for AU offense. I think Harsin needs one more year.
They're gonna crucify you for that one, boy. My boy,
not the most popular opinion, Big Gap, but I will say that at least something began to click in Robbie for sure. I think there's just a few things that they have to coach up in him to get cleaned up in his play. But it looks like it's something about when a quarterback gets benched that they really begin to say, okay, I have to play. It's almost like my back's against the wall. It's either do or die.
We're definitely going to talk about that when we get to coaching.
Yeah. So definitely something did click with Robbie for sure. We'll talk about that later. Before we get into the rest of the position groups, we want to let you guys know that you are definitely watching the War Rapport's Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by Athletic Architects. Please be sure, guys, if you're on social media, share this video. Use the hashtag, even add us if you're on Twitter. Also, please be sure to like the video and subscribe if you're new to our channel. Let's pause to acknowledge the sponsors of the War Rapport.
This edition of the War Rapport is made possible by our generous sponsors. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn Sports, head over to AuburnSports.com. Athletic Architects. For young athletes looking to secure their financial futures, let Athletic Architects help you start to build your financial house. Head over to BuildTheHouse.com. And our giveaway sponsor, GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. If you want the best in the business at restaurant logistics, check out our friends at GWT2Energy.com.
Yes, indeed. Make sure that you are locking in with the sponsors of the War Rapport. We have great sponsors, and you can help us out financially by becoming a member of the War Rapport. Right here, you see the benefits on the screen. You see the money on the screen. You guys hear me talk about this every week. If you're new and you have not seen this graphic before, listen, we have a membership program where you get exclusive access to things like game day. We do a halftime and post-game reaction. Those chats are restricted to just members. We do watch the film situations on Mondays. So if you want to come and check the film out with us, you have to be a patron of the War Rapport. So make sure you're locking in with us on those things. If you are currently a member and you want to gift a membership, you can do that. So hopefully people are taking advantage of that. And again, we just appreciate people who want to support us in some way so that we can continue to bring you guys this content. We're making a big investment in doing this, and hopefully you guys can help us out and continue to get to our goals of continuing to do this War Rapport stuff full time. But membership gifting is something that you can do to help out and just give someone a free month membership on you. We're giving away stuff every live stream. So get your weight up in the live chat here to be able to get in as a potential winner of this, sponsored by GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. We're giving away this War Rapport mug. We'll do the drawing here in just about 30 minutes. You have to be present to win. So you can't just drop your hashtag and then go on about your Sunday washing clothes or watching, football or whatever. You got to still be rocking with us in order to be able to get that. But if you are present, we will gladly send that out to you. And we appreciate everybody who is here in the live chat with us today.
Yes, indeed. Let's get into the defensive side. Ike, could you pull that up for me to show the defensive graphic of the stats?
Yep.
There's the defensive stats here. 94 tackles, 1 sack on the game, 3 tackles for loss, 3 QB hurries. This defense gave up a lot of yards in this game, 578. Not a lot through the air, although 3 touchdown passes did occur against us in this game, but gave up a lot of yards on the ground. Did get 1 interception, an amazing play by Scott in which the ball seems like it hung up in the air for like what seemed like forever. Scott comes down with it. We did get a pick in this game, and that was something that our guest from Ole Miss last week says is that Dart is prone to give the defense 1, and we got 1. thoughts about the defensive performance, just some of the things that you saw. Actually, I will go first. I'm not shocked. I know it's disappointing to see the offense actually move the ball against a Power 5, a conference opponent, only to see our defense seems like it just, caved in this game. But I wasn't shocked. In fact, when I was doing the prize picks yesterday and we were trying to decide if we were going to do one on Zach Evans, I was all for it because I knew, given some of the challenges that we have at the second level on our defense, the running game was going to be a tough thing to contain for us. I felt like that's where Ole Miss was going to get a lot of the yards. They did. So I wasn't shocked by that. I actually think, again, if we protect the football and there's not a bogus pass interference call, the defense only gave up 27 points on the road against a high-powered offense. That's about as much as you can ask of a defense, given our known deficiencies on that side of the ball. Not a bad performance, but when you put the defense in bad situations like we've been doing throughout the year, the score looks worse than what it actually is because the opposing team's offense has a lot of opportunities and better field position. How do you guys assess, given the stats, about how this defense played? Yeah, it wasn't one of the prettiest games they played, but how would you assess how they performed on yesterday, B?
Admirable considering the circumstances. We are not a good enough defense top to bottom where we can be put in situations where we're on the field more than we have to be, the offense turning the ball over, the offense going 3 and out, going 5 and out. The offense has to help out the defense by holding the ball, maintaining the ball, driving the ball down the field. And even if you don't get points, even if you don't get a touchdown, 8, 9, 10 play drives where you play slow. If we're not going to play fast, if that's not going to be a part of our offensive strategy, then it probably does better to slow it down intentionally. Give those guys a rest, give them some time. Getting those play counts up on the defense before half is a very key way to make sure that defense starts faltering late third, early fourth quarter. And that's part of the reason why our defense faltered late. The other part is that our linebacking play is wanting. It is not good enough for us to stop. We are not a strong run defense like we were last year. We are still a good defensive line, but we're not a good run defense because when our defensive line does its job, the linebackers are usually not in position to do their job, or they're just not doing it. We're still missing tackles. And we saw it last year, the one game where Zakoby McClain was out for a half and Georgia State ran crazy. And then he came back and they did not. If there was any question that it could be as simple as this guy can do it and do it well, and it can make a difference everywhere, there you go. There's a lot being attributed to coaching with when we play bad, which is hilarious. All right, Robbie, don't fumble the ball. He fumbled. I must be a terrible coach because he fumbled the ball. I told him not to. We are at a point where we have players doing things that players do. That players who can't cut the mustard, that aren't exceptional run defenders at linebacker, they're not going to turn into exceptional players because somebody told them to. You can improve a player's ability and their skills and their fundamentals marginally over time. Playing the game will help them improve as well, but some guys have it and some guys don't. We have been fortunate to have a guy like Zakoby McClain, and for 3 years, he was back there making plays, plugging the hole, and it was so routine for him that really we didn't realize that it was almost he was keeping the ship from going under as far as run defense. That's it. That is what it was. Zakoby McClain was keeping our run defense afloat for, well, I don't know if he started all 2019, but 2.5 years. He did. And now we don't have that guy. We are missing that guy. If there is a guy like that on this roster, I would like to see him. I know Woodyard came in. I know he had an injury late last year in high school. I don't know if he's fully recovered. He definitely practices. I don't know if he's injured from practice. I don't know what the deal is. I know that we have some guys who are right now taking their lumps and figuring it out, both in Steiner and in Riley when he gets on the field. And I think this is what it's going to be. Papo has not done the job we expected him to do and we wanted him to do. As long as we have this linebacker core without that guy, this is what our defense will look like. every game against some of the better rushing teams. We probably play the best rushing team on our side of the division. And that's what it looked like. And that is why. And it will continue to look like that until they A, find a guy, or B, the offense just does a miraculous job of holding the ball so long that when the defense finally gets back out on the field, the other team has to play from behind and they're forced to throw the ball, at which point we've done a good job of rushing the passer. So we can take advantage of that. That is how you protect a bad run defense. You keep the ball away from the other team's offense, and you make sure that they have to dig themselves out of a hole. Our offense has not been up to those tasks yet. So we are going to be saddled with this run defense until our offense can protect them in those ways.
Thoughts on the defense, Ike?
Yeah, it was just not good. I just there's no way to say that you felt like our defense did a good job yesterday. Outside of a few plays, for the most part, it was good Lord, I don't even know if we could understand the concept of containment yesterday between the sweeps that got around the outside and the pass plays that were going wide on us and the quarterback keeps that were going to the out. They broke containment so much yesterday that I was just like, yo, seriously, did y'all watch any film on Ole Miss before this game started? Any film whatsoever? Because assignment sound was not something that I would consider to be a thing that this defense was. And the reality of it is, and this is a thing that is unfortunate, is that it's not always just one person, right? Like Owen Papo had a bunch of tackles yesterday.
He did.
He had a bunch of tackles yesterday, but we had very few tackles for loss. We weren't stopping Ole Miss for the most part. They were getting what they wanted when they wanted for the majority of this game.
Yeah.
And we really just needed our defense to come up with 2 stops. 2. Because our offense was humming. Come up with 2 stops. Get us the ball back. Now we forced a field goal that one time, and then Lane Kiffin pulls the onside kick. Like, that was a win for the defense. You made him kick a field goal. But shoot, a lot of that was just the fact that Jackson Dart was abysmally inaccurate inside the red zone. He overthrew 2 wide open receivers when he was down there.
Yeah, for sure.
So we weren't forcing them to do anything for the vast majority of that game. So the defense, I mean, listen, I know we ain't doing grades right now, but it wouldn't be a high one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a high. Like, we did not do much in that game that indicated that we were prepared defensively for anything Ole Miss was trotting out there. Now, again, props to Lane Kiffin and his offensive staff, because I don't know how much you can give credit to his OCs. And you know, I don't know who's calling the play-to-play situation, but man, they were dialed in yesterday, because them boys was putting us on a string and was just like, dance puppets. Them boys was out there dancing.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, it's almost like the fumbles. At this point, can we even expect improved play at that position? I mean, obviously Steiner's getting experience, but what can we expect with these guys? Because it's been a lot of the same, even going back as far as Penn State, where guys was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, which would lead to big runs. I mean, again, I expect there to be some big runs just because of this reason alone. But is there any reason to expect improved play from this position? Or again, you kind of mentioned it yesterday, do you almost have to start experimenting with a different sort of an alignment defensively to kind of mask some of the issues at the second level?
I mean, I don't know if alignment is the issue. Like, this is where I'm concerned, right? Is if we're trotting out the best 11 guys that we have, then yeah, maybe if you change how they're aligned, that might be helpful. But at some point in time, you just got to line up and do the job. If we're not trotting out the best 11 guys that we have, why is that the case? So, like, is it do we just fundamentally lack talent, specifically in the linebacking core, Or have we not found the right combination of guys? I mean, because look, we just talked about the offensive line, right? Like the offensive line, it didn't seem like we had the right combination of people to be able to be effective. We'll know going forward whether or not that unit stays consistent. But I worry about, and this is a worry that I've had previous administrations. How are we evaluating talent properly right now? Do we know who the best people are and putting those people in the best position to be successful? I'm not so certain we're there yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know if changing alignment's going to change that.
Right. And you still you run the risk of, if you want to tell guys, here's what we've been doing, now all your responsibilities are going to change because I'm going to throw a guy next to you. Now let's figure this out now on the fly. When really I'm going to continue to say development's a thing. Time to experience something and improve is a thing. For Steiner and Riley, they need it this year no matter what. They need it this year. Even if this, as rough as this year could possibly be, they needed to see real-time action and be out here to take their lumps. Because maybe somewhere there's a linebacker who can just jump on the field and be that guy the minute he steps out there from high school. I don't really think that happens a lot. Back in the day of where linebacker play was just so important, you were almost guaranteed going to redshirt somewhere. And maybe you start as like a redshirt sophomore and you take the reins from there. And then you play and you can end up being that guy on a very stout defense. But it was almost never going to be as a true freshman or a redshirt freshman. So I don't know if a new alignment is possible. The same way we were like, well, they should have pivoted to a new offense because now you got Robbie. Well, that did change. You have your offensive line is not what you thought it was going to be, and your quarterback is not who you thought it was going to be. So now a change makes sense. We haven't lost the critical pieces that make our alignment work. Those pieces just aren't as good as they used to be. So now it looks like, well, you could say it's alignment, but really it's the pieces, it's the guys. Yeah. And we got to get those guys. If it's like, again, if he's on the roster, I want to see him. I want to see any of them come out here. And we just said that true freshmen can't make that difference. Hey, we are at a point where why not? Because the performance, the experienced guys aren't it. How many yards did they get on us yesterday on the ground?
4.
4.
Yeah.
Now you don't have anything to lose. So, and the benefit now is that you can actually put your young guys out there, have them take their lumps for the meat of SEC play.
448.
Jesus. Yeah. Put everybody out there now. I mean, everybody. You can see what you got, and that's the
put
benefit.
24 dudes on the field at the same time, because then we can stop them. 24. We're gonna come up with
all
a new
the
alignment.
linebackers at one time.
Yeah,
they had corner and safety and defensive line number linebackers. Every linebacker on the roster. Let's just empty it out and see if they can stop them now. But this leans into what can be gained from us playing like talked about. Okay, finally we're seeing some second half points for the first time this year, right, against Power 5 competition. And does it matter? Some people are like, no, it doesn't matter. Some people are like, yeah, it does matter. The reason what we do from here on forward matters. Even if we were to lose every other game outside of Western Kentucky, is what Robbie Ashford did yesterday. That was a landmark in his development. How does he get to that point in his development unless he plays? And it comes with some errors and some fumbles and some bad reads and throws. That has to happen for him to get to the point where the switch gets flipped and he goes, I'm tired of playing. I'm not going to be the reason that we lose. I'm not going to be have my team turn their back on me. It's time for me to pick it up. I'm
gonna get like a picture of Robbie and just turn him green and then like caption it, "You won't like me when I'm angry." And then we're just gonna make him the Incredible Hulk.
QBR with the up arrow right next to it. But this is why you play them, because you get to find out who they are, especially when things aren't going well. Right. That's the best time to find out what somebody is or isn't. What they do when things aren't going well, when all you have to play for is your teammate, the school, really self-respect and the want to get better, now we see who you are. And that's why this has been a positive test so far of the character of the locker room. And don't tell me that that's not a good thing. I think it's a marvelous thing. It can keep teams together and make teams play better. And we need some of that. I don't think we've always had that. I think things have gone well enough in some years where you go, okay, well, I'm on board because everything's going good here. So let me keep going. I think there's other times it was really like a defensive unit like what we had in 2019. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to keep y'all in every game offense. So y'all go out there and you figure it out. Now, the offense didn't figure it out in 2019. The defense just did all the work. But when you can have a chance to win a game in the fourth quarter because your defense keeps you in it for the 4 quarters, it doesn't feel like you're failing quite so badly. But we watched that season. The offense let the defense down like 5-6 times that year. We didn't lose all those games, but the offense still struggled. But there was enough success somewhere going on for the team to stay united. What we see now is that each side is faltering in different ways at different times. Matter of fact, Jazzy said it. He said it on Twitter. He was like, is there something in the contract somewhere that says offense and defense can't be humming on all cylinders at the same time?
Yeah.
It might be.
Yeah.
It might be.
Yeah.
And now that it's not, though, we get to see what these guys are made of. We get to find out who our dogs are going to be for next year. This is why Camden Brown getting on the field is great. Omari Kelly getting on the field. Jay Fair getting on the field. Of course, DJ James in the freshman, but him getting on the field. Keontae Scott. We may have just found our 2 starting corners for the next 2 seasons. Well, 1 season if they ball out next year, because, I mean, you ain't got time to waste when you're in college. But we may have just solidified our secondary for the 2023 season through a terrible 2022 season, but that's the value. Trey Mason was the first back to hit 1,000 yards in like 2 or 3 years in 2012. He was ready to go in 2013 because we found out who he was in 2012. It's still development and it's still character building, and I'm still glad it's happening, even if it's happening in some losses.
All right, gentlemen, let's move on to special teams. Let's kind of talk about what we saw there. Pretty quiet for special teams for the most part. We did have 1 kick return, which was by Jarquez for 20 yards. We punted the ball 3 times in this game. Carlson actually went 2 for 2, 1 for 42 and 1 for 28. Of course, we'll get into coaching when we talk about the onside kick. That was one of the bigger plays on special teams that had an impact in this game. But thoughts about special teams, gentlemen? I felt like special teams had to be a big part of this game. Wasn't so much on our end. Ike shaking his head no.
I ain't like it.
You ain't like
I ain't like it. I ain't like it. Our kick coverage was trash. The vast majority. So did I start this comment? Because
I think I start one. I started one of them. Lawrence Robinson. Can we talk about why we're choosing to kick high, to high kick the ball on kickoffs?
Listen, man, if we get a chance to ask Coach Harsin this in presser, I want to know, are y'all doing this on purpose? And if so, why? Why are you kicking the ball short of the end zone? Because I don't understand it. We're not covering kicks well. Is that a
coaching decision?
It 100%. If it's on purpose, it is. And if it's not on purpose, it's a coaching decision to not pull Anders out of the game and have somebody else kicking it off. Because we're not covering kicks particularly well right now. Kick it out of the back of the end zone and stop assuming that suddenly we're going to cover the kicks better. There are a couple of problems that I have with our special teams right now. That one in particular, and how we're covering kicks. I think a portion of, and we talked about this last week, is a portion of the fatigue that we're seeing with some of our defensive players is they're also on special teams. I don't understand. I get that you want your if one more person tells me, well, you have to have your best athletes out there on special teams. I just don't believe that. I prefer for people to specialize in things. If you're not going to get run on defense, get engaged in the game by letting them be involved in special teams. We've got enough athletes on this team to do that.
Right.
And if you're saying, well, I want to get my best athletes out there, then that goes back to a recruiting issue. We need to recruit better athletes so that we have more depth to be able to do that sort of thing. There's a lot of problems that I have with our special teams right now. Our kick coverage units have been bad the last 2 games. There's no other ways to say it other than it's been bad. We've had way too much yardage given up in the kick game. We had a kick go out of bounds at the end of the Georgia game last game. We haven't kicked the ball into the end zone but 1 time, maybe 2 times in the last couple of games. So, and we're not covering the kickoffs particularly well either. We had the gaff where they got, and I mean, listen, it was unexpected, great call by Lane Kiffin, but that onside kick situation changed the momentum of the game at that point in time. Our offense was saying, all right, they score, we finna get back out here and get these points back. And then they had to sit for an entire another drive, keep your defense out there on the field. Didn't like it. Don't like it at all. Now, Anders Carlson made both of his field goals in this game. Props to him. He needed that for his own confidence and for the coach's confidence in him going forward. Hopefully that's a trend in the right direction. But I hadn't liked our field goal unit kicking to this point in the season before that. I don't like what we're doing in the special teams game. I don't. I can't point to a single thing that I like about what we've done special teams wise in the last 3 games. Cannot do it.
B?
Ditto.
All right. That brings us to coaching. 5 penalties for 47 yards, down from last week. I think we almost cut the penalties in half this week. 18 first downs. We went 5 of 14 on 3rd down conversions, 2 of 3 on 4th down conversions, 3 for 3 in the red zone. And the time of possession was 30 minutes, 27 seconds. To your point, Ike, that's not going to get it done against a team like Ole Miss that likes to run the ball, that likes to use tempo. As you alluded, the time of possession needed to be slanted heavily in Auburn's favor to give us a chance because you're keeping Ole Miss's defense off of the field. You kind of talked about some of the decisions that were made in the game coaching-wise. I think, B, you alluded yesterday that you wasn't mad at the game plan offensively in terms of attacking Ole Miss's 3-2-6. We saw the return to a lot of the 12 personnel, getting more bodies up front to mash and take advantage of their alignment, which was a good strategy. But you talked about special teams, Ike, the disappointment there. Do have a question about that James Barnett is asking, fellas, is the onside kick more on our coaches or was it just a good play by Lane Kiffin? No teams do that early in games. Thoughts?
Well, that was the 3rd quarter, wasn't it?
I think it was the 3rd quarter. It was the 3rd quarter.
Time to do it.
I think that it was more about Lane because I think this was more about Lane and his decision to make that call. Because if you remember last year when Lane was going for it on 4th, the story was not about how great of a job Harsin and his staff was getting off the field. It was, what is Lane doing?
But you know what? That's what's crazy about any of these calls, though. If it works, they're a genius. Right. If it doesn't work, it was a stupid call. Why did you do that?
Right.
I mean, you have to just pick your spots. He picked a good spot, and they had scouted it well. They executed it well, and it worked. I think that that's more so on Lane making a good call and an evaluation in film to say, all right, again. So I'm going to say this, right? And you heard me just criticize special teams, go on this complete, I'd hate all of this stuff. I'm going to say something positive, and that's going to be the whole story here, but whatever. That's why the call last week on the punt against Georgia, I still don't like it, but it showed they saw something on field that said, hey, we can take advantage of this, and they call it. They call it because they say we can take advantage of it. Right. It isn't the ideal time to do it. People don't do that in the 3rd quarter. Middle of the 3rd quarter is not the time most people do an onside kick, but you saw something on film and then they gave you the alignment and you go for it. That's what coaches who take chances do. And those coaches who take chances sometimes get burnt on those chances that they take. Lane Kiffin was still going for it on 4th down a bunch of times in this game. Still going for it on 4th down. It worked a couple of times. It didn't work. That's who Lane Kiffin is fundamentally. Who Brian Harsin is fundamentally is a guy who likes to take chances. He's been doing it his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
It's just who he is. If you don't like that, why do you like Lane Kiffin so much? Because he's going to keep doing this.
Right.
It's going to work sometimes. Sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
And you got to take that bag together. That's just what you get when you get a coach who takes chances. The point of that is, yes, it's a great call by Lane Kiffin. Great call, great time, great execution. But you know what? That last part isn't on Lane Kiffin.
Right.
He can't execute the play. All he can do is call it. He can evaluate whether or not to put it in the game plan, and he can call it at the appropriate time when he gets the right look. The players have to go out there and execute it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Overall, thoughts about just the coaching job when you take into account some of the decisions made offensively, defensively, special teams. We're not giving out grades, but how do you feel about the job this coaching staff did in yesterday's game?
I mean, if we're evaluating defensive game plan and adjustments, I don't even know where to give the score on that one, because again, it's hard to evaluate whether the coach is hamstrung by talent or the talent is being hamstrung by coaching. I don't know the answer to that one.
Right.
I don't like what we're doing philosophically in the kicking game. You know, like we have an amazing punter, but basically his whole job from now on should just be kick it away from people because we can't cover the kicks. Same thing for the kickoff. Just kick it out of bounds because we can't cover the kick. So I can't give you a good grade on what we're doing philosophically from a special teams point. So it comes down to evaluating what we're doing offensively. That's hard to evaluate in this game because, again, I don't know if this was a product of what I will say. And I said this earlier. There's two things that I'll say fundamentally were good coaching jobs. Good coaching jobs. Benching Robbie to get his head straight. That was clearly a coach's decision to get his mind right because he was right back in there the next drive. I don't know that TJ could have done enough in one drive to stay in the game.
Right.
I think they benched Robbie specifically to say, hey, Nine, you got to get right, bro. Your head is not in this game. I need to do something so that you can get right. I can't give you that message in words, but what I can do is maybe piss you off enough to get your mind right. So I'm going to sit you down for it, and you can watch him go out here and play. And if he does well, maybe that'll give you a little urgency about it. He does poorly, you're going to get back out there. Maybe that gives you whatever you got it. That was good coaching.
Yeah, for sure.
The other thing fundamentally, again, I said this earlier, that I felt like was good coaching, not great, is stubbornness with the run game in this game specifically. Because I remember South Carolina last year. I remember Penn State last year. I remember watching us get positive gains in the run and be hell-bent that we were going to be a passing team when we could have just kept running the ball. This game, they decided, you know what? We're getting yards in the run game. Let's keep running it. Tank's tired. Throw Jarquez in there. Run it again. Jarquez tired, cool. Tank, go in there, run it again. Both of them tired, speed sweep to Damari Austin, run it again. Just gonna run the ball. We're gonna run the ball different ways, different backs. Robbie Ash, we're gonna run it. I liked that. That's a decision that a coach makes. But again, it's hard for me to evaluate. But I can just evaluate this game. So let me not try to extrapolate to the remainder of the season. It's average. I think what that equals out to is C minus, right? Because you can't ignore what you saw defensively and in special teams. So when you put all of that together for the entire coaching staff, C minus, right? It was cool, but there are things that we could have done better.
Right.
Any different thoughts, B?
I'm about the same. A plus on benching Robbie to get him right. Plus on the overall game plan, stubbornness with the run. In the same sense, you have to give him credit for benching Robbie. Or changing up the offensive line, which maybe have been out of necessity. We're not exactly sure who was healthy enough to play. But any position where somebody is deficient, I have championed this from 2019 on forward. If there is a day where a guy's not getting it done, sit him down. I don't care if it's a quarterback. I guess people took offense to the fact that we said, hey, bench Bo Nix in games where he looked bad. I don't care how long he's been a fan of Auburn. If he is clearly what's hurting us, you sit him down. And I think that should be the case for every position all the time. Owen Papo is still playing. He's making tackles. He's getting there. He's getting there late. He's chasing people down because he didn't stop the run before it got 5-6 yards down the field. Players are playing poorly, but they're still playing. Puckett had some iffy play yesterday, and
bro, what was with the one tackle, man, where he's like running over there trying to, man. Okay, anyway, man, continue, bro.
He did not grade out Will at all. Pro Football Focus was not kind to him.
Yeah, so in the same sense that I absolutely believe that people are making they're trying to make how a player plays almost entirely about coaching, when honestly, I think a great deal of it is that guy that dude or not? A coaching job would be year over year, or from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. How have you improved, or have you improved? What we are seeing is that we don't have those guys, but we're still not seeing all our guys. So if I've got a safety that's not playing well, I heard a lot of talk about Caden Bridges. Put him out there. Now, he got on the field a little bit, but we have plenty of depth in the secondary. Don't keep a guy out here messing up like this, getting burned like this for the sake of what? Seniority? No. Swap them out. We got guys, especially in the secondary and running back. We got dudes. I don't want to hear no complaints about those two position groups. If somebody messes up, get them out of here. We've got dudes. If it ain't Tate getting the runs, put Jarquez in, he'll get the runs. If it's not Caden Bridges, if it's Puckett in doing it, Bridges is out there. Who is it that came? Gilbert.
Marquise Gilbert, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We got bodies. You're going to get the number one JUCO safety and not play him for a guy who's playing as poorly as Puckett played yesterday. This is where it's a negative to me on coaching. We saw them be really, really stubborn about who they played on the offensive line early. And I don't know if they just decided something had to change or because guys got hurt. But either way, a change seems to have altered our play. And the same thing with TJ Finley. Before the season even started, where we were iffy on if TJ's a starter, okay, let's cross our fingers and hope the staff knows what they're doing. But listen, man, we were like, all right, but the ceiling is going to be with Robbie Ashford based on what we think the offensive line is going to be. The ceiling for this offense, we know what TJ may be able to do if the offensive line is okay. The ceiling is with Robbie. Don't wait too late to make this change, because you're wasting time in games, 2 whole cupcake games where Robbie could have gotten the start and started to take some of these lumps, and then we would have accelerated this process by 2 or 3 games. We don't have to waste games with what is evident to the naked eye. Some of that is, and I've talked about this before, your coach wants to believe in you. Your coach is trying to instill this confidence that they think will cause you to play better along with consistent coaching and experience. But if he's not that guy, he's not that guy. And it's almost a concession to the players to say, listen, man, you ain't that guy. I get it. But now the season is at stake. The games are at stake with you sticking with the guy who you've written with. Don't dance with the one who brought you. Dance with the one you want to go home with. These people you ain't gonna get it with these guys, man. So we got to put the best talent on the field. We didn't always think that was happening with the last staff, and we were hoping that was something that changed. Like Ike said, that's something about this staff that I don't think changed. The only thing that has changed it is necessity due to injury, and I would love if they could get out ahead of that and swap guys out because of their play on the field way before it starts hurting the team.
Yeah, I'm agreed. Great. Well said. Well said. Listen, let's go ahead and get into our giveaway, guys. We're giving away a mug courtesy of GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. That's Walt Taylor. Shouts out to you, sir. If you want to enter to win this mug, all you have to do, well, you should have done it already, because these days we no longer wait around. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments. Maybe you can get it in here now. That's why I'm talking like this still with the graphic still up, because the moment this graphic comes down, Ike does this.
Yep, I do that right there. Hit that button. Let's get to it. Courtesy of GWT2 Energy Consulting Services, we are giving away a War Rapport mug, and that is going to be going to J-Dog.
J-Dog.
What up, J-Dog?
And I've seen you in here recently, so let us know that you're here. Please, good sir. Please, good sir, let us know that you're here. I think we're
Man, you know what,
done.
You know what I thought about recently though?
What?
If only Jeff Smetting had called plays this year like he did during the Iron Bowl. Anyway, I don't know why I gotta be a jerk, man. I don't know.
J-Dog is here. So what
There we
need?
go.
What we need you to do, sir? What we need you to do is email us business@the.war report. We need your physical address, and that mug will be coming your way. Congrats again, J-Dog. Do we want to get into what we saw this week, gentlemen?
I definitely do. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, all right. If you say so. If you got to be like that, well.
What did we see?
All right, Ike. I'll let you go first. Or do you want to go last?
Nah, I can go first. I can go first because I'm gonna just turn this straight into what B Will is gonna talk about. So I'm gonna just hand this off relay style to B Will. What I saw is that Hooker is nasty. All right. Listen, man.
Is that? No,
Yeah,
that's not. Is that part?
yeah.
Triple entendre. Don't even ask me
Ask
how.
me how. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
Pause.
saying?
I guess we'll let you have that one. Go ahead, Ike. Go ahead.
But nah, man, I like what I saw from the young man. Now he was out there, man. He was just slanging it, bruh. Like I just don't know another way but to say he was shredding that defense. He was putting the ball in the right places.
You
There
said
are so-
you said Hooker was out there
Hooker was-
slanging it.
Yeah, I just listen. Everything that I say right now is going to be an entendre, so you're just gonna have to be okay with it. He had great touch on the balls. He was putting it in the right place. He was slinging that thing all up and down the field. Hooker is nasty. I don't know another way but to say he was all up and through.
We really are adults. We really are adults. We really are adults. I promise you guys.
Listen, it is what it is, man. Hooker's nasty, man. I am not ready yet to put Hendon Hooker in the Heisman conversation. But if he does anything similar like this against Georgia, I don't know how you keep him out of it. Because he was doing what needed to be done, both in decision making. I talked about this a little bit, and when I talked about the game he had last week, where there were just situations where pressure was coming at him, and he just sidesteps, like he just doesn't get wrapped. He's only had one interception in like 300. He takes care of the ball, he gets the ball to his playmakers. He is the perfect guy for what Josh Heupel wanted to do with this offense. It's a shame that they didn't realize it earlier and they went with Milton at the beginning of the season last year. Because I don't know how in the world you watch Hendon Hooker and Milton both throw the ball and say, Milton.
Right.
Yeah. That's the one. So listen, man, Hooker did his thing, bro. He really did his thing in that game. And that's with him even missing some throws, right? Like he wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
There were some wide open receivers he missed. But the throw that he made to get them in field goal range at the end of that game, the throw and the catch was great too. The throw he made for a Hail Mary at the end of the half almost landed directly, or it did actually hit his receiver direct. I'm like, man, this like what kind of laser targeting does he have, man? This is ridiculous, bro. You're not supposed to be able to throw the ball this well. Now, he is a grown man out here playing with 19-year-old dude. He's 24 years old, so he should be really good. But dang, bro, like he was really out here embarrassing this secondary for Bama, man. I don't know if Bama's secondary is that trash or he is that good, but he's been doing this to a lot of teams this year. So I'm going to go with he's that good.
Both.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, because Quinn Ewers was bombing on him before he got hurt in that
true
Texas game.
Yeah.
So listen, this is Bama's secondary. It's what they are.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. Hendon Hooker's doing his thing this year, man. I am definitely happy to see that for that young man because Virginia Tech wasn't the place for him, but this seems to be a landing spot, and he's doing his job this year, man. Credit Josh Heupel with the way that he's drawing it up, but definitely credit to Hendon Hooker for being the guy to make it go because, again, I saw it with Milton, and I was like, this ain't it. Right. Hooker.
Walt Taylor asked, what is UT going to be like without Hooker next year?
I don't know.
We saw what life was prior to Hooker getting the starting nod.
Yeah,
that's a good question.
the guy they got coming in he's a 5-star quarterback, dual threat quarterback. I mean, but here's the thing, man. I don't know what more we need to see about 5-star this or that before. You got to get him on the field and play.
But here's like what you can't replace is poise. He might have all the talent in the world. Hendon Hooker has poise
and accuracy, which 5-star is not guaranteed. What these 5-star ratings usually get is for the guys who are very productive, who dominate competition, but you don't have to be accurate in high school to dominate. If your wide receiver is good and you got a big arm, you can be out here bombing 50-yard passes on people in high school and come out looking amazing coming out of high school.
Yeah,
you won't really know until your guys are covered, which I mean, Bama had a problem with, but feeling that rush when you got guys, when you can't run away from that defensive end or that linebacker that they schemed it up and you're going to have somebody in your face. Now, what are you going to do? Are you going to get shaky? Because that's what happens to most players. Honestly, very few people are elite to the point where they can face pressure, make accurate throws and good decisions under pressure. Deshaun Watson, Joe Burrow, Hendon Hooker. I mean, it's so rare. It's so rare. There aren't that many people who can do it consistently. You don't want your quarterback.
I mean,
to have
that young man
like
at Bama. Like, listen, I don't want.
Oh no, Bryce Young. No. We never taken anything away from him. Yeah. We are not a pro Bama team, but we are a pro good football player team, and Bryce Young's an amazing football player. But yeah, so he's got it, man. He's got it. Will a 5-star freshman come in and have it off top? We'll see. I doubt it, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope not, just for the sake of us being able to still be competitive in the SEC. I wish nothing but bad things on all the offenses around the SEC for the next 5 seasons. But yeah, we'll see.
Well, I guess we should get into B Wills in if we're gonna start doing
that,
right?
Yes,
do we need to start getting into? Do we need to just what's up, B?
You know what? Last week I conceded to y'all that our hopes for this season were pretty much dashed. We were not going to compete in the SEC after that Georgia game, that undressing that we had at Athens. But you know what? We engaged hater mode, and we devoted our energy to hating and making sure that other people could lose when we could not win. And I asked, you were like, you know what? Is that what makes people lose? Just spirit ball energy hating? And I said, well, you know what? That's how I'm going to do it. And I'll be damned if I didn't get my first hater loss yesterday. Bama goes down. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't that much of a surprise. I know it wasn't that much of a surprise.
I mean, we all picked, I think every one of us picked Tennessee to win that game.
We picked Tennessee. We picked Tennessee. We thought Tennessee could win it. They did win it.
And with Bryce Young playing quarterback, Bryce Young was there the whole game.
Hey, I sincerely thought Tennessee will cover no matter what. But if Bryce Young plays, they probably won't win. Bama would win. You know what? They won with Bryce on the field, and it was mostly due to that 5-star secondary getting shredded to pieces out there, which, again, stars are great. Put them on the field. Put them on the field. And luckily for me, even in the offseason, we were like, man, Bama got Elias Ricks from LSU? Oh, man, what? That boy was roast duck out there. Roast duck. Getting bombed on. It was amazing to see, man. It was amazing to see those the cornerbacks. Man, what you doing, man? I love seeing that from defenses. I love seeing confusion and upset faces between players. I love seeing Nick Saban upset on the sidelines, because even if they had won, man, you know Nick Saban pressure going up if they giving up that many points in the game. I loved it. It was great. I love seeing all the salty Bama fans on Twitter and Facebook. They're so upset. They're so upset. Now it's a conspiracy. I can give you 4 times in every big game that Bama has won by a narrow margin were calls they should have gotten called. Texas, they got away with 2 or 3. The Iron Bowl, they got away with 2 or 3. No, but this was the game where the rest was cheating right here. Apparently, this is the game where the rest was cheating.
Yeah, because every other time it's like, well, you know, you just got to play the result. You know what I'm saying? It happens in games. Refs make bad calls.
Mm-hmm.
But if you lose the game, now all of a sudden, refs cheating. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It was phenomenal to see. So I need y'all to, with me, Let's keep it going. Next week, we got somebody we can hate on. Y'all want to pick and decide who we hate on together? This week was easy. We knew we were going to hate on this week. We need to hate somebody into a loss. And I think
it's someone
is
else.
Jimbo back next week?
He's back. But it's somebody else. It's somebody else I hated on this week.
Who'd you hate on this week?
Oh, keep going, yo. I don't want to steal your thunder.
I'm good. I'm good. That was
you done?
I'm done.
I actually think you're wrong, B. Will, because as far as I'm concerned, and we had this person on, great guy. He covers Penn State. Hater mode actually claimed Penn State first. Now we had someone super chat us. They was rooting for Auburn and Penn State. I hope they enjoyed their cider. I hope it was really spiked because it was a rough Saturday for them. They lost twice. But for some of the Penn State fans who was really smelling themselves. I saw some of y'all on Twitter. Y'all was kind of quiet yesterday. Y'all got humbled.
There's been quite a few fire the coach tweets get fired off yesterday too from the Penn State fans.
No,
hey man, I ain't want to say nothing. I ain't want to say nothing.
No, they were smelling themselves.
Yeah,
they've been smelling themselves. Now they want to get rid of Frank.
Yeah.
So T. Frank gonna be the only Frank.
Somebody changed their Twitter name, not their handle, but their Twitter name to fire Coach Franklin. I saw that.
No way.
Yes.
What
and they got a lot of retweets and reactions for sure.
What a difference a few weeks make. What a difference a few weeks. Listen, we're not going to see Penn State anymore. I'm hating because I believe B will, and I should hate. I'm going to hate everybody. So to see Penn State fall like that,
chaos. I want chaos.
That's
I want Kansas in the 14 playoff.
Listen. Phil, this is the comment of the day. He wins. Franklin is not swag.
He ain't swag.
He ain't swag. He is not swag. That was beautiful, Phil. You win the trophy. But it was just good to see. And here's the thing. Here's to show you that I'm an equal opportunity hater. Harbaugh's next. I want Harbaugh to lose. I just pass the hate on. It's almost like you got hated on, pass the hate on to someone else. So now Penn State can collectively hate along with us with Michigan. Let's just keep it going. Keep it going. This was the first one that got claimed yesterday, B. And I gotta admit, there was a part of me that was like, if they win, at least we don't look so bad. But then when they lost, I'm like, screw it. They got what they deserved. I like this. Hating actually feels good. It actually looks good on me this time. It does,
man. I meant to tell you, man. You're glowing, man.
Hating actually
look young.
Yeah.
You know what, though? I think
have another reason to watch college football because I can hate now. Because let me tell you what happens. When Auburn is losing, I don't feel like watching TV or football anymore. Anything sports related.
Yeah.
But when I hate, I'm re-engaged. I'm now watching with a renewed spirit. I don't have to run away from sports, the thing that I love so much. I can keep watching, hoping that people experience what I felt earlier in the day. I'm going to keep hating. So Penn State and Bama are the next victims. USC lost.
Yeah,
they did.
They
did. USC lost. Yeah. Who's next? Who's next, B?
Listen, man, I don't know.
Who shall we hate next?
There's a whole lot of people I got some animosity towards in my heart that just deserve to lose in spectacular ways. But Michigan and Ohio State are the next two that I need to just smell a little bit of that that lost sauce.
Michigan is a team that, for everybody wondering, I think there's a slim chance that Brian Harsin gets to stay here long enough to institute his vision. But what I think a team run by Brian Harsin long enough would look like is probably what it is at Michigan, which is, are they extravagantly fantastic at everything? No. They do a lot of 3- and 4-star recruiting, and they grab 1 or 2 5s every now and then. But what they have is a consistency in attitude on defense and a consistency on offense that, whether the quarterback is the guy or not, Jim Harbaugh also does not really settle on quarterback. I don't think it's by default. I think they probably recruit. It seems like he wants a pro style guy there, but they don't really call. I don't know. It's kind of the same thing. Like, you got talented skill position players, but the quarterback position isn't great. But they just do it though. It's like there's a cohesive, we're gonna do this, damn it, and they do it, and they beat me. Like, if you would have told me how was that Penn State game and Michigan game gonna go, I would have said Penn State would be in the game the whole game.
Yeah.
Now Penn State's a little shaky because Michigan has not looked great. They have given up a ton of points to bad teams so far this year. They kind of play to the level of the competition, but the minute they played somebody who came in and thought that they were going to take something from Michigan, wiped them out. And that's going to be Michigan's failure, is that they still aren't spectacular at quarterback. And that's always going to hold a team back when you talk about national championship. But I did not expect Penn State to get wiped off the face of the earth like that. Like, I thought they would go that run game they were talking, that offensive line. Turns out they just played a bunch of bad teams, us included.
Yeah.
Us included. That's it. The road test at Auburn was not a road test. It was a tune-up. And there was no test to pass or flunk. That was a practice test, and you passed it. But the real test was a lot harder because you played a quality team on the road. You got dusted. Shout out to T. Frank. He probably not watched this episode. I'm pretty sure he's got a lot of content to generate this week to help calm that fan base down. But T. Frank, we're gonna have to get back.
Your
up with
turn,
you,
T. Frank.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So here. We got a lot of people here. Is Lawrence Robinson says, "B will give me more hate. It's coming right away." He says, "Clemson. Who shall we hate next?" I saw someone mention Oklahoma State.
You know what? I don't want to hate on Clemson yet.
I don't want to hate on Clemson.
I need them to get to the dance and then get dumped. I need them to fail on a big stage.
So Clemson is currently living off the glory of how Venable stacked the cupboard while he was there. Yeah. And also how what was the offensive coach that left? Elliott, was it Tony Elliott?
Yeah, Tony Elliott.
How he stacked the cupboard. So to be honest with you, DJ Uiagalelei, he has played better this year. He has not. He didn't turn into Bryce
steadily
Young.
improved.
He steadily improved. I don't think he has the ceiling that Bryce Young had, even though they were kind of similarly rated coming out of high school. But they have improved consistently. And I'm honestly, if this is what you can do, all right, with when you lose your coordinators, the guys who had made the team what they were, Dabo, you pick new people, the talent's left over. Yeah, maybe you can make a run with that talent. But you know what? I'm actually being kind of surprised by Dabo and what he's able to do year after year. Last year, DJ Uiagalelei did not play well enough for them to be elite. He has steadily improved. I like to see guys get better. He took that heat for not being good enough, for not being the 5-star that was promised at Clemson. And he took that personally. I saw a couple of interviews where he talked about it. And you can see the intensity from him when he plays games. Like he grew up and he got better. And Dabo put some guys around him, coach-wise, and they're improving, man. They're improving. So as much as he's a goofball, and I hate to hear him talk, Dabo might know what he's doing as a head coach. So I'm going to have to find somebody to hate on that's not Clemson, because I'm not hating on Clemson this year.
Oh, I am.
Why? What have they done?
No, hating is fun, B. It's fun.
We have to focus it on the right. There's somebody who deserves hate more than Clemson.
No, Clemson. We don't have to hate on them right now. I'm just saying I like
Ohio State definitely deserves.
Yeah, they got all the players, all the resources, and they don't win the big games. Yeah, Ohio State. Well, there's only 2 teams in their conference who are worth.
And I want them to lose to one of them. They're not supposed to.
I'm ready for Georgia. I'm ready for Georgia. I'm ready to hate on Georgia. I think I'm ready.
Their time is coming.
I'm ready to hate
on
Tennessee
Georgia game gonna be some.
Yeah,
I'm ready to.
I've seen the ticket prices for that.
I see you, Chris, in the comments. I agree with you. I think Georgia is a one, or it's between Georgia, Ohio State, and Michigan.
Yeah, we can just pick a week to hate on them respectively. I'm with that.
Okay. Well, I gotta tell you, every week that Jimbo is actually on the field, that's who my
next week.
Is.
That's next week.
We back at it then. All right.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Back
I
at it.
love it.
Let me ask you a question, B. Is Jimbo swag?
Jimbo swag.
Hell,
He definitely not swag.
I say
Okay.
he
He's
missing the S.
And the
I
K.
mean, I am conjuring a 6-loss season for this man. Y'all don't believe me, man. It's gonna happen. 6 losses.
Yeah. Greg Wheatley says he's hating the Gus Love for beating Temple. Listen,
You know what? What's so
nothing about-
amazing to me? Whether it's Bo
listen.
Nix's performance in the Pac-12 or Gus's performance in the AAC, they're not beating good teams, man. Auburn could have beat Temple by 80 points. Would that have made y'all feel better about who we are? No, because he still would have went on the road and lost to LSU and Georgia and Alabama. What? Football is not what do you dang? I lost the effect. What's the property in math? Transitive effect.
Yeah, it's no
Transitive property does not apply to football, man. It does not. He is playing in the JV leagues. God bless Gus in the JV leagues. I'm happy for him in the JV leagues. He could not cut it here. Same thing for Bo Nix behind this offensive line, playing these defenses. It is not the same thing. I don't think Oregon's played a team that actually ranks higher than 60.
Here's the thing:
defense.
as much as y'all think that we hate those guys, I don't care. I legitimately don't care what they do in those other leagues. I talked about Oregon in the first game because it was an SEC opponent. That was it. Outside of that, I don't care what he does. I legitimately, I don't miss him. I don't want him back. He could win the Heisman Trophy this year. I will still not recant what I've said about Bo Nix and his play. I don't care. You can keep bringing it up, and I'm gonna still tell you I don't care.
I'm not as harsh as you, Ike. I'm happy for Bo. I'm happy
too. I just don't care.
That's fine. Fair enough.
There's a lot of girls that I've dated in the past. They're married right now, living their life. You can show me pictures of them doing stuff on Instagram. You know what I will say?
You use that analogy, then I have to agree with you too. Shoot, I don't care either. Then.
I don't care.
If you're going to use that analogy, then I don't care either.
Be where you are. Love your life. Guess what I don't get to do? I don't care. I don't. You can still. I don't know why you keep bringing it up. I don't care. I don't care. I could be in the worst relationship in the world right now. I don't care what you're doing because you know what? I didn't like you when you was here. No, I don't want you back. No, I don't. Stop telling me about it. I don't care. You stank and you was needy. You was everything I didn't want. I don't care how well off you are in your current relationship. No.
Right.
Please be happy.
Backwards, man.
Please be happy because I am never going to be happy with you ever. There's not a scenario in which you can envision where you'd be like, man, don't she look kind of cute today? No, she doesn't. You know what? Because I've been up close and personal with her. She looks cute, but she don't smell too good.
Now leave me alone and let me lust after nasty hookers.
There, thank you. Can I want a hooker? Yes.
That's right, man. Hey, you're not even in the mood for a relationship. Just nasty hooker all day.
That's it. That's it. That's all I want.
Go back to my old work. I'm done with the old work. That's the past. Nasty hooker is the present.
Been there, done that, man.
Now you tell me we dirty macking and trying to pull who's the next Hendon hooker in the transfer? That's what I want to know.
That's who's what I'm looking at.
Hooker?
You said dirty macking. You said dirty macking.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Our coaches.
I don't want that old thing back. I need that new.
They ain't even let you throw but 20 times last game. You know you need to come on home. That OC don't know what to do with you.
Yeah.
That OC, man, they couldn't even put together passes. Man, you seen our wide receiver? Let me send you some pics.
I'm not salty. That's what y'all don't understand. You keep trying to bring up the old girl, and I keep trying to tell you I don't care. Like, why do you keep bringing it up? That's not salt. That's me getting tired of you. Like, why you keep bringing that up? I don't care.
That's indifference.
Yeah, I don't care. I only talk about it because you keep bringing it up. I don't mention it anymore. Don't care.
This 30 minutes of hate was brought to you by Athletic Architects.
I thought you were going to say peace. Yo, shout out to Jake at Athletic Architects.
If you are a student athlete looking to if you are a student athlete related to a student athlete, or you're looking to start your LLC, please be sure to check out Athletic Architects at buildthehouse.com. Thank you guys for supporting the show. Guys, do you have anything else?
Nah, I'm good.
No, man, it's been a good time.
I know. Again, we've talked about Auburn for like an hour and 15 minutes, and all people are gonna focus on is those last 4 minutes of this conversation. They're gonna swear all they do is talk about, like, man, what? Hour and a half conversation, 5 minutes of it about something else. Why can't y'all keep that name out your mouth? Okay, all right.
Because we run an hour and a half long talk show where people come on and give us topics. That's why. That's why. You should try it sometime. Ike, tell the people what they need to be doing currently in this middle of the season.
Come on board and fund the hate program.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying? Become a member of the hate coalition, and we can collectively hate our way into pleasurable football season, even when your football team isn't doing good. Man, it's like just, it's group therapy session, man. Come on and get your bills in order for the group therapy. $5.99 per month gets you to patron level, man. I have already done quite a bit. This is the first Saturday where I've actually just been at the house. So I've done quite a bit of like cutting film already. So I'm coming ready tomorrow. And we got the bye week. I might put like 5 videos out this week. I don't know, man. I got time. So I'm just to let you know, patrons, be ready. Just be ready for some stuff. I don't know what I'm gonna do this week, but got to get on board with patrons to get on with that, man. $5.99 gets you there. Hopefully y'all get on board with that and we can come watch this film tomorrow. Membership gifting is still a thing. If you want to give memberships to other people and you're already a member, do that right now in the live chat. Just hit the little gift box. YouTube will randomly assign that to someone and get them as members of the War Rapport for the first month on you. If you want to re-listen to some of this stuff that we're doing on podcasts and even some of the original voice only or audio only things that we're putting out, make sure you hit up the Auburn Express on all of your podcast places, anywhere where you can listen to podcasts. If you didn't get a chance to win something, you can go to thewarreport.com and check out our merch store there. Check out all the other things that we have available as far as written content and things that we're putting out on the War Rapport. But support us by going to our website as well. Listen, this is a free way you can support. We don't talk about this a lot, man, but just traffic to the website helps. It helps us to be able to sell that to other people for sponsorships and get other advertising things. So just going to the website periodically and just click and being like, oh, I saw this yesterday. I'm going to click on it again. That helps. So free ways to help, man. You don't have to be a member to support the War Rapport. There's a lot of free ways you can do it. C's going to tell you about a couple others.
Listen, before we do that, you just got an amazing idea for a t-shirt. Rigger Spoon says, can we get a hate
That's funny.
T-shirt?
That's funny.
Just throwing that out there. Also, what we're going to throw out there, guys, is while you're watching, you need to do us a favor and help us out. You can help us out by sharing the video using the hashtag #GetYourWeight Up. While you're here, help us with our engagement, guys, as we go live. We appreciate that greatly. Smash that like button. And if you're new to our channel, please be sure to subscribe. You can interact with us on social media. I mentioned Facebook and Twitter throughout the show, but we're also on Instagram at The War Rapport. And you can also find us on TikTok at TW Rapport. That's it for now, guys. We have, as usual, more content on the way. Even though it's a bye week, same schedule as usual. We will see you guys then. But until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend. And as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.